All right, so I was having a conversation recently with a good friend and fellow therapist of mine, and we were talking about why couples keep getting stuck, and she gave 3 words that I thought were brilliant and a great roadmap for why you might be stuck in your relationship, and those words are clueless, critical, or curious. And I'm going to tell you why those are important and how you get stuck in just a minute. If this is your first time hanging out with us and you've not yet downloaded your free guide to intimacy, you'll see a link in the description area below. That'll give you 4 areas of intimacy to evaluate in your marriage: emotional, recreational, physical, and spiritual, and give you some ideas on how you can begin increasing connection today. All right, let's talk about clueless, critical, and curious. So many couples get stuck. Obviously, men and women are different, and many couples struggle to manage our difference as well. Sometimes it's a lack of understanding, sometimes it's selfishness, but at the end of the day, there are 3 kind of approaches or perspectives when it comes to figuring out how to navigate and understand the differences between you and your spouse. The first one is clueless. A clueless approach is, I'm clueless about what's going on. I have no idea. And if you're in that space, you often stay stuck. The second one is critical. And when you're in this space, you'll stay stuck. So the first 2 will keep you stuck in some of the same cycles you're in. So if you're clueless, there's an easy remedy to that, and that is you need to gain information. You don't know what you don't know, which is why you need to read resources, why you need to watch videos like this one, why you may need to go to a counselor, why you may need to go to a workshop. Because if you don't know what you should be doing and your spouse is frustrated because they had an expectation and the experience is not matching the expectation, that gap will leave frustration and resentment. So if you're clueless, you need to begin to learn some new things that may help you better understand your spouse and what's going on in the relationship. The second one, critical. Now, many couples just become critical when they don't understand, or when they're frustrated, or when they don't feel heard, or when they feel like they're putting in effort and it's not being appreciated enough, or they don't feel like their spouse is grateful for the efforts they're making. We become critical, and really that's a protection mechanism. We're protecting ourselves, and so we become critical of the other person. But despite what you may have heard, there's no such thing as constructive criticism, because all criticism will elicit defensiveness. I've done other videos on that, so I won't belabor the point here. But a critical view and a critical approach to your spouse is not one that's going to get you very far or help you break out of the cycles. Instead, you need the third C, which is curious. Curiosity may be the most underrated skill a person can have in a marriage. Many times when our spouse says something, what we quickly do is hear what they say, make an assumption, evaluate what they say, and never be curious about whether or not we are accurately entertaining what they're trying to give us. And so we respond based on the assumption we have, oftentimes without ever getting curious or asking, are we on the right track? And too many people will respond poorly, and then what will happen is the other person say, that's not what I'm saying. Well, that is what you said. Well, that's not what I mean. Well, you need to say what you mean, right? If you've ever been in that cycle. Listen, you can end all that by just being curious. So when your spouse has some feedback they give you, or they bring up a concern or an issue, or they're just communicating with you about a desire or a wish, don't assume that what you heard you fully understand and start operating from that or responding based on that. Instead, get curious. Ask another question. Maybe that's just summarizing. So this is what I'm hearing. Is that correct? Or can you give me a little more clarity? I don't know if I'm understanding. So asking, so you're wanting me to fill in the blank, that will help them realize whether you are understanding what they're saying or not. We got to get curious. Same thing if you're clueless, get curious about what you don't know that may help you in the relationship. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there, do a real quick video based on my discussion with this other therapist. There are 3 approaches. You can be clueless. That's going to keep you stuck. You need to gain more insight and information when what you're trying to do is not working in your relationship. And we need to continually learn our spouse, because what we knew last year may not be the same 5 years from now, may not be the same 10 years from now. We got to continue to gain more information about our spouse and about the relationship so we're not clueless. The next approach is critical, and if you are critical, what you're going to be met with is defensiveness. There's just no way of getting around that. So instead, the third approach, we need to be curious. We need to have curious conversations and ask curious questions in our relationships. And when we do, We'll minimize the amount of times that we're going to misunderstand. We'll minimize the times that we step into conflict for absolutely no reason, because what I thought you were saying is not what you were saying, but I was responding to what I thought you were saying, and now we're arguing about whether or not you said what I thought you said and what you think you said. Get curious. You'll resolve all of that kind of stuff, and you'll have a better relationship. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Which is your approach right now? Are you clueless? Do you tend to be critical, or are you actually curious? Drop a comment, and until next time, I'll see you right back here on RelationShots.